Absolutely, Alex, and we have more victories than that. Penn State will investigate ClimateGate. Inhofe asks Boxer to start an investigation on possible scientific conspiracy in ClimateGate. And just yesterday, the Australia carbon laws failed. The emissions trading scheme went down in Parliament. People are waking up, yet our leaders still are marching towards this treaty as if nothing is happening. Gibbs is saying in the press room, that's the president's secretary, his press secretary, he's saying that it doesn't matter because most people still believe in climate change, Alex.
Well, notice that's a fraud hidden in plain view right there. First, it was global freezing in the 60s. Then by the 80s and 90s, it was global warming. Now, 6 months ago in the New York Times, their own memos came out where the White House was saying, now say climate change, deteriorating atmosphere. The oceans are going to turn to acid. Basically Chicken Little. They are caught red-handed. This is the equivalent of 20 high-powered torpedoes hitting their aircraft carrier. Their aircraft carrier magazine, where all the armaments are stored, just blew up like a fireworks factory. And this is just absolutely devastating. Now, here's the bad news. Washington State's already taxing business owners. They have to track their employees. They take the train, the bus, or the car. If they tax them depending on what they take. The federal government and multiple states, including Texas, are moving to put tracker systems in all our cars and taxes by the mile as a carbon tax. Schwarzenegger has banned big televisions. He's putting a tax. The legislature didn't pass a law. He just had his energy commission, the bureaucracy, do it. There are so many hundreds. When I say hundreds, I mean hundreds of different carbon taxes and environmental taxes that are nothing to do with the environment, nothing to do with real environmental issues we have like toxic waste, genetic engineering, cross-species, things that we talk about so much. This is also a big diversion from all of that. So in the UN documents that came out 2 days ago that Paul Watson's written about, they brag. We've taken over the children. We're brainwashing their children. The kids are coming home, paddling on their parents, writing them mock tickets. They're giving the kids uniforms. Worldwide, they are literally taking over our children. We are simply winning a major battle right now, but the war is on, and we have to root them out of the school districts. We have to root them out of the colleges. We have to shout these frauds down everywhere. That's why it's so beautiful. We've got them on tomorrow. What We Are Change Chicago did when they did the best job I've ever seen of exposing him face-to-face in front of all the media for ClimateGate and Al Gore getting red in the face. This is now happening everywhere they go. This is just so amazing to see people taking action, getting involved, and standing up against this corruption. But the battle is now on. The royal rumble is now on. And we're going to go to break. I'm going to come back for 5 minutes and talk about Afghanistan and then let Jason do his next guest. And I appreciate you sitting in on short notice, Jason. But I also want to put a plug in for Fall of the Republic. Fall of the Republic, an hour of the 2-hour, 24-minute film is about the climate fraud, how it's really eugenics. Now people are noticing that Michael Crichton wrote a big essay before he died about how climate cult is really a eugenics cult. Anybody who's a researcher from the left, right, it doesn't matter, is now discovering this, and our listeners are getting the word out about this. And so by exposing ClimateGate, their entire eugenics global population reduction scheme is being blown sky high. It is a chain reaction, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone can feel the victory, the spirit of liberty, the spirit of truth and integrity literally in the air. The banks that hijacked us in 1913 and 1945 created the United Nations, the Presidio Naval Station in San Francisco. Our government created the World Bank and runs it. Our government created NATO. It's used as part of the global imperium. We have hundreds of internal Pentagon documents, the PNAC documents written by Dick Cheney, saying we're an empire, saying we're here for global domination. Henry Kissinger, Zbigniew Brzezinski, the main advisors on foreign policy to Barack Obama, admit we're an empire in multiple books that they've written, like The Grand Chessboard and others, and countless speeches. He sits there and says we're not a tool of global domination. And he plays that mind game of going, we're angry with the UN and the World Bank and NATO because they don't appreciate us. So the average American goes, yeah, he doesn't like the UN. This is the guy who's still currently the only sitting president to ever be the head of the UN Security Council. This is the guy allowing their foreign corporate creation. They built the UN as an offshore corporate crime syndicate to then come in and hijack the United States that built it to begin with. The Federal Reserve has created its own international government so it can cede authority directly to a government. Pentagon gain. Oh, we're going to be in Iraq 6 months. Oh, then 2 years and we'll look at it. Oh, we increase the troops, and in another 2 years we'll remove those troops but keep the original troops. And then he said again, oh, in 2 years I'll look at removing the additional 30-plus thousand, but we're always going to stay there. So it's the exact same Pentagon line. He's reading on the Pentagon teleprompter. Everything is written for him, just like George Bush. They put Obama in to get the left to stand down against the war. And notice I was watching CNN last night, and they admitted, well, actually, Obama sent 80,000 troops. This will be 80,000. That's right. I mean, he already sent 40-something thousand in the last 11 months that no one discussed because the big distraction of, oh, will he have a surge? What will he do on the war? Oh, to give him left cover, they had the fake right in this song and dance come out and say, oh, he won't beef up the troops when they need it, when he already escalated it with NATO troops, UN troops, and 40,000-plus U.S. troops, now an additional 30-plus thousand. And in 3 years, you watch, they're going to send even more. And by the way, Afghanistan is a great success. It is.
With another 34,000 troops. It's the Alex Jones Show. I'm Jason Bermas sitting in. Alex, what do you think about that?
Well, it came out in the early 70s in congressional testimony. The CIA was shipping most of the opium out of Southeast Asia. This is declassified. The 1996 CIA Inspector General testified before Congress. I have it on tape. It's on C-SPAN that the CIA ships in most of the cocaine. This is an open secret, and they now admit, oh, our troops guard the poppies so the Taliban won't get it. There's over a 13-fold pre-9/11 amount of opium. World records have been broken 3 times over. 80-plus, almost 90% of world opium that's turned into heroin and other opiate drugs pouring out of Afghanistan. This is a war over the $500 billion that, again, they can leverage in the banks to over $5 trillion a year. Again, devastating success, total precision by the Pentagon. They turned America into a police state. Obama, in his speech, was talking about we're this beacon of light and hope and freedom. Really, we're worse than China on many fronts. G20, they would sound cannon young children out walking their dog or playing football in their front yards. They'd go on the university at night saying no one's allowed on the streets and beat women who were on bicycles with clubs and attack old women with police dogs coming out of grocery stores. It's all on video. I mean, this is a sick joke. America has been captured by the same offshore banks that publicly fund the carbon tax takeover. And in closing on the carbon tax takeover, with your next guest coming up, let's not forget, hundreds of billions have been spent in the last 2 decades setting up this environment cult built around these taxes that has nothing to do with the environment. They candy coat it in reasonable things like electric cars and windmills. Has nothing to do with any of that. It's about taxing and regulating and tracking and tracing everything you do with carbon rations. There's no more debate, no more denial. They are not going to give up without one hell of a fight. But if we never shut up about climate change, if more and more comes out, which it is, and if we keep pointing out you're just a bunch of fraud criminals and quit debating them. I mean, look, they put Karzai in. They copy him with fake elections. Then our government complains about it to have the illusion that he's not controlled by the criminal globalists. It's all theater. It's all stage. Obama and Bush work together. They're just mid-level puppets. Kissinger and Brzezinski and Rockefeller and Senator J. Rockefeller are many levels above them in the pyramid, and that's what we expose in the Obama deception and fall of the Republic. That's why people have to get it and make copies and give it to everyone, because people are now ready to hear the truth. We, as hardcore patriots, know the truth. It's old to us. It's new to everybody else, and people are listening. Like a man who is thirsting to death, dying of thirst in the desert, and we're sitting here on a million gallons of ice water, thinking that he doesn't want it. They want it. They're ready. Teach people the basics, and I just keep plugging my films: Endgame, Terror Storm, Obama Deception, Fall of the Republic, your film, Labeled Enemies, your film coming up, that it's so incredible. I mean, the level that we're taking everything to with Invisible Empire coming out in February. Folks, we're on the march, and you are carrying the ball with the listeners and the activists. I salute you. And the guy coming up next, great idea, not just criminal charges, which are forthcoming, and people getting kicked out of the universities, losing their tenure. We need everybody who's been preyed on by these criminals and all these professors they got fired. We need all of them to sue these bastards, because in discovery, everything will come out, ladies and gentlemen, and everything is coming out.